So here it is, gonna be straight. I'm gonna just start working this edge right here. See it start to kind of roll down. You can kind of see, right? That's just working this edge. I'll eventually go all the way through there. But you see just that little bit already, how much it already shaped it. Pretty cool, huh? Now I'm going to go a little deeper in it. Instead of just right here, I'm going to kind of go in here to kind of like bring all that in. So you can see how the jaws like bring it together, and then that's what curves it. Pretty cool. Get my left nut for a hydraulic one, or air one. Alright, so check it out. Here's the example. So this is part of the mud guard. So I made this template, made it a little bit bigger. But now I need to actually put a roll in it right here. Not a break, but just kind of roll it. And then you'll be able to see where this is going. So I don't know why it. So check this out. So this is what makes it super complicated. All right. So I kind of cut the backside of this out already because that's this piece right here now. This is the inner structure that I started with to give me that wheel arch to actually match the wheel arch of the front mudguard, right? So now I'm making the outer piece. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with one hand. So I'll roll this edge in the bead roller, you know, tip the edge, and then I'll make all of this, if I can, need an extra hand over here. This, what makes it complicated is this, I need to make as part of this, obviously the outer quarter, and I want it to lay in here nice and flush with, you know, not like binding or anything. So I'll weld it here, and I'll have the quarter, I'm building the quarter to where I can remove it, you know, as I'm hammer and dollying it. So this is all quarter, outer quarter. This is all the inner stuff right here. So let me see if we can set this up and let me show you. I don't know if this works out a little bit better. So yeah. All right, let me go ahead and jack the tire up so you can see it. This is what makes it difficult, is this fucking travel. Don't get me wrong, it's super cool, but it's a pain in the ass because I want the tire to roll up into it, and I want a real nice tight gap. I don't want this big old gap, or I don't want to build this too far. I want it to be kind of flush with the tire. So you know how fucking hard that thing is. And that was the challenge, was to make a really nice, a really cool wide body. So this is how far it comes out from the normal quarter, but then have it functioning to where the tire can still travel. So most people just put like a short, looks like an 80s square body, just mud flat. You know, there's no contour to it. So this, I had to put some crown in it to actually get the tire to travel into it. And then I have to complete the outer with the inner, so all the inner structure is taken care of. So that was the challenge over here. So I made part of the mud guard, the inner structure, which is going to be right here. So, and also like another key thing is I'm going to have to cut, I don't have to, but I'm going to kind of bring this down just so mud and water and everything doesn't get stuck right here. So there's like a lot of thought that goes into doing a quote unquote wide body, because people see these, you know, movies and they're like, oh yeah, I want to wide body my car. Well, the problem is it's a shit ton of work to get. I mean, you can do it overnight, you know, basically, but there's no inner structure thought. There's no, what's it going to be like as a daily driver? Is it going to hit metal every time you go over a bump? So I mean, yeah, there's definitely quicker ways to do it, and I kind of like overthink pretty much everything in my life. But the way this is coming out, you know, I think it's going to be super cool. So then I'll put this on, and then from there, once I weld that, I have the outer skin right here. It's going to go over top, weld into here, and then I'll weld this, and this is called a hem roll. It's like where if you open your door on your truck, the door skin kind of rolls over. That's called a hem roll. So I'll build this outer panel for this chip guard, or this mud flap, and the last piece of the outer structure for the wide body, and I'll leave it a little long so I can actually roll it underneath. And I got more than enough room just to kind of clear like the back side. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, then once that's done, I'll cut the quarter into the door so this gap is perfect, because we got some shit going on here, and this is from the previous shop, you know. I mean, the quarter's just kind of sitting on, so it's not like the end of the fucking world right here. Then once I do the door gap, then he wants this rocker molding to roll in to an extension for the rocker itself. You know, and this is kind of where like I patched up where they just like scabbed everything on it, the other shop that tried to do the wide body eventually or earlier before I got the car. But yeah, so let me cycle this tire. It's actually super cool. Let me see if I can get this set up a little bit better. Sorry for the camera stuff, I suck. I'm a car guy, man. Not a photo editor guy-ish. Trying to be though. Yeah, so, and this is like the challenge too, you know, because I wanted like a nice tight gap for ride height, because the other shop built it out almost like 4 inches, and it had like another 4 or 5 inches of gap, because this coilover, when I looked it up and I got all the specs on it, it's a 5-inch travel coilover. So it's 2.5 up, 2.5 down. But the problem is when it's sitting at ride height, you know, you're gonna have this kind of bigger gap here. Well, if you go back in the video and look, when this tire goes up, that gap shrinks to like that. You know, and same in this front side right here. That's why I had to build this weird little step, because I had to complete the inner structure, but then I needed to give enough room for the tire to actually travel. So that's kind of the thought process. There's like so much that goes into it. So like, if you take a quick glance at this car, the goal is, when you take a glance at this car when it's done, you're gonna see like, oh, okay, like it's got a cool bump right here, you know, for the quarter, which I believe kind of matches all these body lines, you know. It's gonna go down into the chip guard, or mud flap, whatever the fuck you call this thing. And you know, I mean, if you know these cars, you're gonna be like, okay, it had one in front of the tire, you know, from factory. Oh, but they built it out of metal. The cool part is when you look at it from the back, you're gonna see this much extension, and it's all going to be molded in. I'm just going to cut this off right here and cap it. And then so when you look at it coming from the back, you're going to be able to tell that there's been some serious work, you know, from the car. But what I was tasked with this car is, I want a wide body, but I may want to sell the car down the road. Well, someone that wants a 79 Trans Am may not want one that looks different than a 79 Trans Am with a wide body, you know? So I'm trying to take like a lot of the styling cues from the original body and make it into the wide body without altering the look a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it was a super fucking tough job for me to do, but I love it, man. You know, I like a challenge. I like things that make me have to think a little bit, and the customer's totally cool just letting me do my thing on it, man. So, and of course, like, I come up with ideas, he comes up with ideas, and then, you know, we do what's best for the car. So if he has an idea that maybe, it doesn't matter if I agree with it, I just have to make sure his idea is a functionable idea, and that the biggest goal is that I don't build him something fucking stupid, you know, that he can never sell. But anyways, this is kind of like the look of the car so far. You can kind of see it, you know, with the quarter, and then you can see like how that tire just sits really flush right up against it, because I didn't want the body to be way out to where it looks like it has like a little wagon wheel underneath it, versus like, you know, a nice meat that's kind of complemented to the body. So that's why I want to keep everything tight with the radius. But anyways, here's kind of an update on the Trans Am wide body, and I'll get a new video out here in the next couple weeks. I appreciate you guys watching, man. Thanks. All right, so this is the quarter skin, the extension welded on the outer quarter now, finally. So you can kind of see that's kind of how far it's going to stick out. Got it just kind of rough welded in. I still have to make the flare coming down in, so it's kind of tricky because this tire needs to travel in here, so you need this big area, you know, for the tire to go up. I mean, it's going to go in a little bit, but it's just kind of rough right now. But it changes from here to here, right? So I have to make this piece cool with the wheel opening, you know, roll in. But the problem is, you know, this should stay about the same, but then with this being extended and this being a different contour, I still have to work out all this. I'll probably just kind of roll it in. But yeah, it's very tricky. The rear, there's no rear spoiler, so I'm just ending it like that. I think that's going to be pretty cool. So when people look at it, it's going to look like a lot of similar, you know, body-ish of Trans Am. But when they, you know, get to looking at the back end, they're going to be like, oh man, what the heck? This whole thing's like extended out. So I built this to where I can still pull it off to hammer and dolly and work all this stuff out and everything. But this is kind of what it looks like with the quarter extension kind of put in. So shaping it from, you know, flat metal, doing a, you know, a shrinker stretcher on it. So I actually shrunk it, then putting it in the bead roller, a little bit of an English wheel, stuff like that. So that's all the little different combinations to actually make this. So once I pull it off and I start hammering and dolling the backside, I'll do another video of like the cleanup. But I kind of wanted to show you what it's looking like right now with the quarter extension and doing the quote unquote wide body kit. So that's what we got.